Hey guys, thanks so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast, where we help gamers realize their full potential. I'm Daniel, and I'm here joined by a special guest. This is BG Burnette, and BG is a professional DJ and an executive chef and a certified tax professional. So quite
All
a
the above.
wide array, a wide gambit of skills. So
Right.
fantastic and great to have you on, BG. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic as well. And so I think people would be interested. So it's kind of a wide, diverse amount of things that you do. So tell us a little bit how that all works, right? How is it being a DJ and an executive chef and a tax professional?
So it's a pretty crazy story. I was in college. I was a pre-med student of all things, and my wife at the time, we both sort of sat down one night and decided, maybe medical school's not the path we want to go. Being in school for another 7 or 8 years, you're really good at cooking. You love what you do. Why don't you go to culinary school? So I pivoted, went to culinary school, graduated. And while I was in culinary school, I was introduced to my one of my now best friends who was a DJ. And I've always loved music. I've always loved playing with music. And long story short, I went with him a couple of times and it just became a thing. And about 3 years ago, I dove into it more full time and got sort of out of the day to day working corporate job and have been doing that and started up a food prep business. And yeah, here we are.
Fantastic. So such a fun kind of aside to just, being able to kind of jump, in careers because I know there's a lot of people trapped, they feel
Man,
trapped in that kind of corporate career,
I,
right? But
I definitely felt trapped and still can't believe I had the audacity to try it. But, I'm not going to say that I'm rich and I'm living great, but I get by and I have time. And that's the most important thing.
that's yeah, because
Yeah.
one of the reasons I kind of left the corporate culture, corporate career, just because it at some point, yeah, and again, everybody's different, but at least for me personally, it got to the point where it was almost soul crushing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It because it always was just do more with less, and you're like, at some
Absolutely.
point, at some point you're hitting, keep cutting, you're gonna hit bone at some point. It's like it's not gonna work.
Well, for me, as an executive chef, I made great money and I would love to have that money back again, but also did it working 60, 70 hours a week, didn't see my family, didn't see my kids. Of course, these are things that should have been thought of more in depth when I chose that career path. But yeah, I just decided time is more precious than any dollar amount you can put on it. And we only have so much of it, so why not do what you love?
Exactly right. I couldn't have said it better. And so having all these diverse skills and background, I think is so cool and so fascinating. And what we didn't mention yet is that you're also a gamer, right? So
Yes.
also enjoy some video games like myself. So tell us a little bit about the gamer background too. Like, what did you start? What do you like?
So I'm definitely older than I look. I'm 45, and I remember the day my mom bought my Nintendo, my very first Nintendo. Of course, I remember the Atari. Wasn't really big into that, but I remember the first time I got to sit down and play The Legend of Zelda, and I was hooked from the get-go. Followed Zelda through all the different platforms, even to Tears of the Kingdom now. Played all of them. My favorite's still Ocarina of Time. I am counting the days that they do a remake of that. Hopefully they will.
Hopefully.
We'll see. Anyway, yeah. So that, and then I also love RPGs. So Dragon Warrior, Final Fantasy, all of that. I'm not real big into the multiplayer stuff. I've tried to dive into some of that, but I'm still just old school. I like to have an objective. I want to accomplish the objective, hit all the side quests, and call it a
There you
day.
go. Oh, I
And then
love
I also
this.
play sports games too, of course. Everybody has a sports game they like. Mine's college football.
Oh, there you go. I see.
Yeah.
And that might be where we differ because I've definitely enjoyed Zelda over the years. I've definitely been a huge Final Fantasy fan for as long
Mhm.
as I can remember. There's probably some people that could recognize in the background some Final Fantasy
Oh
paraphernalia
yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
So absolutely love the Final Fantasy and the JRPGs, especially like the Square Enix type stuff. And to me, the sports games is like probably the one genre of game that I shy away from.
Really.
Because that's to me it was it because I know everybody and I'll ask you this question too is everybody thinks when I ask or I'll just ask it point blank, BG, why do you play games?
Why do I play games? Well, mainly to escape reality for a few minutes. uh, the competitor in me, I did play sports in high school, so the competitor in me enjoys playing the sports games. It satisfies that part in me. But more often than not, I'm wandering aimlessly through an RPG. That's how I spend the majority of my time. If I don't have a lot of time and I just want to play something quick, I'll play a quick game of football or, whatever is, something that would be quicker.
There you go. And that's why everybody thinks, everybody has fun, right? Because
Mhm.
the usual answer, and you didn't give some people give me the very surface level answer first, be like, why do we play games? Because they're fun. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, why are they fun? So I like how
there you go.
you got
I
to the heart
figured
of that
I
quick, where
went
you're
straight
like,
to why they're fun.
yeah, but why are they fun? So for you, it's that kind of taking the step back and kind
Yes.
of like you said, that kind of escapism to say like, hey, can I kind of put my mind at ease and kind of relax into something else? Uh, and so for me, I think it's a lot of the same. And to me, it's also this kind of sense of achievement,
Yes.
right? And to me, that sense of achievement, like the RPGs, like saving the world, right? What's better than
Yes.
saving the world, right? As far as an
Absolutely.
achievement. And then that kind of level of escapism, that kind of level of wonder and awe, I loved about. So that's why I like both fantasy and science fiction.
Hmm.
And so the most boring thing to me, I think, is what you can do outside, right? Because like I want to
Sure.
use the games as the medium to do the crazy stuff. Sports, I'm like, well, I can go watch a game. I can go watch TV. I can play, play flag football or something out in the backyard with some friends.
Yeah.
So at least to me personally, it was like, well, that's cool, but that's over here. That, not in my games. I want my
So,
games to be crazy and
so
fancy.
for the reason football appeals to me so much is because my parents wouldn't let me play football. Like they let
Aha.
me play basketball, they let me play soccer, whatever. Baseball, if I wanted to play baseball, they'd been fine with. Football was absolutely not. So I've always had this this desire to wonder in myself would I have been good at it,
Hmm.
and I guess playing the college football game sort of gives you that little bit of taste of maybe what it might have looked like.
Yep.
Probably not that great, but and like I said, there's a competitive nature in me. That's the reason
Yep.
why I'm an entrepreneur. And what better way to line up against somebody and the best player wins.
Yep, exactly right. So it's interesting. So between the sports games, like the college football games, between Zelda, between the RPGs, like the Final Fantasies, so it's a wide, diverse array of games that you do as well, right? So we've talked about DJing and executive chef, and we haven't touched much on the tax professional side too.
Yeah.
So what have you seen as kind of these parallels between how you play games and how you've kind of advanced in your career?
So for me, I have it goes back to being a kid and battling ADHD my entire life. My mind is going 100 miles an hour all the time until I lay my head down at night to go to sleep. So having all these different games that I like sort of satisfies that because I feel like if I get stuck on one game too much, it starts to not be fun. So if all I'm playing is Zelda, I'm going to get burnt out. I'm not going to want to do it. If all I'm playing is sports games, I'm going to get burnt out. Not going to want to do it. So by again in my actual life having all these different challenges and the tax thing is really interesting because I've always been great with math, always been great with numbers, crushed it in college with that stuff. So doing taxes was just like a no-brainer. I got the opportunity to do it a couple of years ago, fell in love with it because again, it's a problem, it's set down in front of you, you have all the information, just solve it the best way you can.
Yep.
And there is a clear cut answer. I mean, you've got it right when you're finished. If you don't, then you're doing something wrong. So, yeah, no, that probably is why it's my psychology. It's the way my brain operates. I want to have different things, different challenges, and keep myself grounded in that.
Absolutely. And so you brought up a very interesting point that which we've talked about on the show before, which is you have a problem in front of you
Hmm.
and being able to solve it. So gamers and problem solving. So those that have been around on the show before know problem solving for gamers huge. Like I think one of the top skills that we as
Absolutely.
gamers have, right?
Hmm.
And it's and it's kind of surprising to me that some people, and I guess a lot, especially I'll call it the lay people, the people that the non-gamers, they don't understand how good we are at problem solving. Like if you put a
Absolutely.
problem in front of us, we're going to knock it out of the park, especially like you said in these kind of tax professional kind of setting where
Hmm.
when you say there is a right answer,
Hmm.
right? Because a lot of games, I mean, you can kind of consider even open world games like to an extent, but most games, it's like here's a puzzle, you have to solve it,
Yep.
right? So there's a right answer, and there might be multiple ways to get to the right answer, right? So we're talking like Zelda, Breath of the
Right.
Wild, Tears of the
Yeah. Yeah.
Kingdom, or
Yeah.
any kind of the Assassin's Creed games, like open world games. There's a lot of ways to solve a problem, but you're still solving a singular problem. The catch is, I think, when we get out into life, there's almost an infinite way to solve problems, right? And so I think there's
Absolutely.
this kind of disconnect, and so this kind of overwhelm to be like, well, it's different between a game and life. It's like, well, you're still solving problems.
Absolutely. No, 100%. I agree wholeheartedly. Like you were saying with, fantasy games, RPGs, open world, you do have an end result that you want to accomplish, but there's up teen different ways you can go about doing that. You don't have to do it linear, well, some games you do, but some games you don't. Maybe you want to knock out all the side quests first, gear up, and then make the game super easy. I mean, people do that all the time in real life. That's what college is
Yeah,
about.
there you go.
Depending on what you're studying, I should say.
Yeah, and I would love to dive into that a little bit deeper because I think again I think there's this disconnect, and what I love to show on this podcast is how we can equate that, how we can say that
Mhm.
life is more like a game than you think, and
Absolutely.
prepping ahead of time, doing the side quests to prepare you for the boss is
Yep.
something we can do in real life. So, do you have some examples in your own life or things that you've noticed where when it is side questing is preparing you for the boss in real life?
With let's see, what would be the best way to, with DJing, I can tell you a lot of the side questing is practice. So anything you want to be great at obviously requires a lot of practice. Even in the gaming world, I mean, I don't know anyone that could sit down and play, one of those. I'm trying to think the name, Souls. What is
The
it?
Dark Souls games.
Yes. Somebody that's never played a game before, hand them a controller and say, "Here you go." they're gonna,
Yep.
they're going to scream and cry, and yeah. So I equate that a lot of practice, a lot of time spent getting better at your craft, whatever that looks like. With taxes, it's not quite as intense. You're either good with math or you're not. If you're not good with math, you probably don't want to jump into that type of field. But with chef work, same. I mean, the more practice, the more that I've done, the better I've gotten. So the side questing to me is just opportunities to grow in whatever it is that you want to do.
Gotcha.
Even if it doesn't make you money, like and then I feel like so many people get caught up with money. It's not always about money right out the gate. If you're going to get better, you're going to make yourself more valuable. And making yourself more valuable is way more important than making a lot of money right out the gate.
Exactly. And I think the side quest analogy works really great there because
Hmm.
typically the main quest is what's kind of advancing the story and it probably has more reward to it, money in this case. Whereas the side
Absolutely.
quest a lot of the time, especially in RPGs, is the biggest reward of the side quest is usually experience, as you say,
Right.
experience points,
Yep.
which you're saying, which side quest in real life, it's experience, it's
Hmm.
practice. So trying to re-equate the two, I think is actually so that's a really powerful thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So one question I'm sure that people would have is to say, okay, well, side questing in a game versus side questing in life. Side questing in life is practice, and that sounds boring.
Yeah, it can be, that's for sure.
So how can we make it more interesting? How can we say that, a side quest in a game, you want to do it? So why is it that we don't practice in our daily lives.
I think a lot of people don't have a clear end result in mind. They don't have a goal set. So if you're not a type of person that sets goals, I set goals for myself daily. And it could be something as simple as getting my house clean. If I don't set active goals in my life, I do not accomplish them. So for me, the side questing, the practice is, okay, I want to be the best DJ in my city. And the only way that's going to happen is if I practice and I get better and I take chances and put myself out there and show people that I'm better than I was last year or last week, even. So I think setting goals is probably the key to making it interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's something even as gamers, yeah, so uh, I'll posit that gamers are not as good at, you know, making goals as they are at solving problems because the goal in a game is given to you.
Yes.
It's just kind of handed to say like, hey, here's the monster, here's the bot, here's the
Yeah.
castle, here's the level, whatever it is.
Right.
The objective is clear,
Yep.
and the objective changes, and then it can move forward and back, and depending on plot and how you want to twist it. But the objective, whatever you're currently working on, is always clear.
Yep.
So BG, what has helped you with goal setting in life? Because I think, like I said, and I'll speak from my experience too, that I've used to have trouble setting goals because I think this is where my gamer mind came from to say like, okay, well, I
Yeah.
can solve the problem,
Yeah.
but what am I solving? What is the
Well,
goal? So
what
what has
I
helped you with goal setting?
What I have found, it was definitely not something I was good at from day one. Obviously, I don't think anybody is. If they are, they're a unicorn, and I want to be surrounded by those people because I want to pick their brains. Um, for me, it was setting a problem in my life. So whether the problem was really there or whether it was a problem that I created for myself, if I wanted to buy a newer vehicle, or if I wanted to save money for vacation, whatever that looks like, I'm creating those problems and giving myself those goals to move forward with. Because again, even my brain, it goes 100 miles an hour. If I just sort of floated with it and tried to let it just kind of come to me, it wouldn't. So I have to kind of narrow my focus in, okay, what is it that I really want to see happen in the next year or 6 months or 3 months? And then sort of prioritizing those things that I want to see happen. Okay, this is where I want to be. How do I get there? What do I need to do today to get one step closer? What do I need to do next week to get 5 steps closer? And then it slowly but surely over time, it became a lot easier. And then writing them down. Don't just tell yourself you want to do something. Put it on paper. I have a dry erase board that I write stuff on. And you see it every day, it becomes a lot easier to accomplish if you're looking at it every day. It's no secret that a lot of the Hollywood people say, I wrote myself a check when I was 18 that I was going to cash when I was 30 for $1 million. They looked at that every
Yeah.
day, and eventually it's like programming your mind to clear the quest.
Yep, exactly right. I
Yeah.
love I love that. That's Jim Carrey comes to mind as one of the famous ones that did that, right?
Yeah.
That wrote himself a check, and when he did was Ace Ventura, his
Yep.
his big break in the movie industry. Like he,
And you never know when that big break's going to happen. So, I mean,
yeah,
you have to put yourself in a position to be ready for it. Because what is it they say that people on average experience three life choices that could make or break them in their life? And you have no idea when that choice is going to be presented to you. So,
yep.
side quest, side quest, side quest to be ready for it.
Get ready for life because it's coming one way or
Yeah,
another.
one way or another. If we're blessed long enough to make it, that's for sure.
Yep, exactly right. Oh my God. So much good stuff that you mentioned because yeah, I was even taking notes myself because I'm like, yes, I want to make sure that we capture all this.
Listen, I'm not the best at any of that, but I certainly have tried my hardest to get better at it every day.
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic because I think what you mentioned, some of the biggest points to me, I think was focus,
Yes.
right? So being able to narrow your focus down because a lot of people they want to be able to do everything, right? Like
Right.
I don't want to miss an opportunity. Like what if the life happens? What if I need to be ready? So
Mhm.
I need to keep myself wide open available for this opportunity. But then if you have all this divided focus, right? All this divided attention, it's kind of it's you know paradoxical in that way, but you'll miss it, right? It's
Yes,
the fact that you're trying to focus your attention everywhere means it's going to be very easy to miss something.
absolutely.
So narrowing your focus to say like, all right, what is it that I can, finish? What can I get out of the way? Because sometimes it's just I've seen the power of that too, where trying to multitask, I think is kind of it's like a misnomer that people it's like, well, you don't necessarily work on multiple things at the same time. You have multiple things that are ongoing, but you're focused
Mhm.
on one at a time, right? Finish.
I have a really close friend that's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he told me years ago, he was like, "You can dream all you want to dream, and you can have the biggest aspirations and have all the right thoughts and all the right everything, but if you don't have focus, you have nothing." Because you're just going to spin in circles, chasing whatever you think is the next best decision. So without focus, you're not getting anywhere. And we do that in gaming. I mean, there's so many different games you can jump in, and there's a gazillion side quests you can go after right out the gate. Heck, even in Zelda, the new Zeldas, you can go take on Ganon right out the gate if you want, but you know
Yeah,
how that's going to go. I mean, unless you're watching videos and
it
seeing
goes
how
back to
to,
the Souls-like thing
yeah,
where like, oh yeah, if
right,
you hand somebody Breath of the Wild and you're like, all right, go
yeah,
kill Ganon right now, and you're
go right now.
like, holy crap. It's like you can
So,
technically, but hope you practiced, right?
yeah,
Even for that kind of a challenge, right?
absolutely.
Okay, so and so that's amazing advice too. So even coming from the Fortune 500 CEO, so it worked for a Fortune 500 company myself. So like I can definitely see where that comes from, that kind of adage, because I completely agree. I think having focus is so important, so
Yeah.
important, guys.
Clear cut vision, man, all the way. And I have sort of I mean, and it could change. Like mine's changed, I don't know how many times over the last 10 years, but I still have a vision, whatever that looks like, even if it changes. Okay, this isn't going to work. Let's pivot.
Yep,
So,
exactly. So good. And then one thing that you mentioned that I haven't heard anybody really say before is setting your own problem.
yeah,
Like that was so very interesting because everybody has problems. There's always something to
right.
solve, right? But
Yeah,
but you're saying like, make it a problem. Like make it so that it's a challenge, right? Because this is coming
absolutely.
from that, I guess from that kind of gaming, understanding background, right? You have the goal, you have the boss, you have the challenge.
Yeah. I was in sales, fitness sales of all things,
Hmm.
and I was terribly out of shape. Probably had no business doing it. But while I was doing it, I found that creating so a lot of people that I don't know, I'm trying to think of how I want to say this and not sound like a total douchebag. If you see that there is something in yourself you want to work on, and maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's not what someone would say is a clear-cut problem, but if you make it a problem for yourself, then you start to see it as an objective and as a challenge, and then you're more motivated to accomplish that challenge. So for me myself, about 12 years ago, I was really bad out of shape, overweight, not in good health, starting to have like serious health issues. And instead of letting it turn into, going to the doctor, getting on medicine, doing all these things, I decided to make some changes and I dropped weight, got myself healthier, and now I kind of can see how people, when they're battling fitness issues, that it until you see it as a problem, you're not gonna tackle it. You're just, you might have all the best intentions, but you need to see it as something to overcome.
I cannot agree more and I've not heard it worded that way. And
Hmm.
so that's really interesting as far as make it a problem because
Yeah,
if it's a problem, you'll want to get out of it. You'll want to get out of the
exactly.
problem, solve the problem. And the other way I've heard it, and this might resonate with some people, is people don't do what they should do. They do
Hmm.
what they have to do.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So if you make it a must instead of a should,
Hmm.
you'll get it done, right? Because people do what
Absolutely.
they have to do. People do what they must do.
Unless they're really good and they do what they want to do too, but there's
Right.
not a
And
lot of those
then
people.
Yeah, if you're one of the unicorns that you end up doing what you want to do and should do sometimes, like, hey, let me know.
It sort of works out for them.
Yeah. But for most people, it's, there's not enough time in the day. Like you said,
Yep.
it's I have to do what I have to do. And it's like,
Mhm.
so I like the way you phrase it. It's like, so make this a problem, because if it's right in front of you and it's a problem, it's like, well, crap, now I have to solve this problem.
Right.
Otherwise I can't move forward. Right.
100%.
That is fantastic. Gosh, and I know we could talk about this all day, but yeah, just to keep the podcast short and sweet, I want to make sure that we cover as much as we can.
Sure.
But BG, I want to make sure. So between all the gaming and kind of how that overlaps with your the variety of career and professions that you've had, is there anything we've missed? Is there anything or advice that you would have for people that have this kind of diversity in gaming, that how this can apply to their lives?
I think just put yourself in a position to see a vision for yourself. And if you can do that, then you can accomplish anything. You can accomplish it with gaming, you can accomplish it with real life, relationships, health, finances. If you have a clear-cut vision, you can do it. And nothing will stop you from accomplishing it if you see it.
That's fantastic. Yep. Yeah. The only thing that can stop you is you.
Absolutely. And you can talk yourself out of anything if you let it happen. You have to also have the resolve to say, no, I'm going to see it through.
Yep. That's absolutely right. Gosh, so much great advice. So, BG, this has been fantastic. I'm sure people would love to learn more and maybe connect with you. Where can people find you and kind of what you're doing?
So you can find me on all the socials. I've got Instagram. It is I have to remember because I don't ever give it out. But Facebook, Instagram. I do not do a lot on Twitter, even though I have one. But Instagram and Facebook's probably the best. You can find me on Facebook, BG Burnette, and then Instagram. It is chef underscore GZ underscore the THA underscore focused one. I know it's long and obnoxious, but I thought it was funny, so
There you go.
it's stuck around.
Yep. And we'll have the link for you guys in the description, so you can definitely check out BG there. So
Yeah.
so much fun. So BG, before we go, I do have one final question that I do ask everyone that joins the podcast, which of course is, what is your favorite video game?
Oh my gosh, this could start a fight. No, for me, it's still the highest rated game of all time, and it's Ocarina of Time. I could play it 100,000
Yeah.
times and still love it just as much as I did the first time.
That's a good
And
one.
I'm praying that they will remake it.
Yeah, I,
Praying
I
every
hope they
day.
remake it too. This, yeah, and not just like the port to the 3DS
No,
that
no,
they
no, no,
did. I
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no, no,
no,
no.
that's
They
not the
need to
thing.
give it the Breath of the Wild treatment.
Yeah. Oh gosh. They made, wow. Yeah, just that
It
alone is
needs
just
to
like,
happen. I mean, I'm sure a lot of, if you love Zelda, you've seen the people that have used Unreal Engine to remake it. Like it could be so much
it could be,
fun.
yeah.
And no broken weapons in that one. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to be able to take a sword and go through and make it
Yep.
happen.
And at least the good news there, at least I heard from one interview that I think that Tears of the Kingdom is the last one they're going to do, at least for a long time, hopefully, with the weapons that can break, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's been well received.
Yeah, that part of it was kind of a novelty thing to me. It was just
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, interesting. But then
Well, if I remember correctly, the Master Sword doesn't break, but it doesn't end up being the strongest sword in the game. So it's kind of like, what? Like, how is the Master Sword not the
yeah.
strongest sword in the game? It's
Well, the
it's the Master Sword.
Master Sword. I think what was even funnier about that, I think it did become the strongest, but only if you got the DLC.
Yeah, of
I
course
think
they
that's
got
what
to
it is.
get
It
more money,
was like you
right?
had to get the DLC
Yeah.
and you had to go through like the Master Sword challenges or shrines
Oh,
or
there
whatever
you
it is.
go. Yeah.
So they added some additional shrines where it would power up the Master Sword,
Okay.
but it would
Maybe I need to
still
go back and play
break,
again.
right? Which because remember the Master Sword doesn't break, it just loses charge, and you're like, all
Oh
right, now it's gotta.
Lord.
I was like,
Uh,
what a weird way to do that, but like.
yeah, I really hope they don't do that again.
But the good news is, I want to say that there was an interview with, I forget who. It might have been Miyamoto himself that was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we're not going to do that again. It was fun to try. Da da da. We're just And I'm like, kudos to try things. Yay.
Absolutely. I mean,
But
it did make it interesting. And I
yeah,
mean, it does definitely make it a challenge because you better have backup weapons or
yeah, exactly.
you're
I
going to
mean,
be punching things.
You got to try things. I mean, that's how we got the battle system for Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know
Oh
how
man.
you feel about that one, but it was just like the
I
draw and
still
junction
think
system. Like,
I still think Final Fantasy VII's the GOAT for me. Although I did thoroughly enjoy 16. I
oh, you
thoroughly
did?
enjoyed 16. Yes.
Nice.
Clive is an all-timer for me.
Awesome. I got
Yeah.
to go with 6 on the Super Nintendo.
Very, very good game too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
definitely.
me, that was like 7. Yes, 7's great. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. I like the Edge 6 out a little bit higher just because it was like, because that was
Well,
my team growing up.
the
And
bad guy in 6 is just it
oh,
doesn't get much more evil.
you don't get much better
So
than that.
no.
How do you top him? For sure. Okay. And I know we could talk games all day, and I love it. And so I'll say for anybody watching, yeah, definitely let me know if you want to have BG back on, because I know we could talk more. We can talk games, and if there's anything that you think we missed,
Anytime.
let
Would
us
love
know.
to.
Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this, BG. And
Absolutely.
I just gotta say again, just thank you so much, and to everybody watching. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right.